Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's preview, as England take on New Zealand, the game of the weekend, I reckon, and a game where Eddie Jones is very much eyeing out a victory against his country of birth. And I think they can do it. I genuinely do. I think that this New Zealand side is there for taking for a lot of teams if you can pitch up and you can put in that 80-minute performance. We saw how Scotland very much had New Zealand and then let it slip away. And I think a couple of teams have been guilty of doing that so far this year. The Springboks definitely. But when New Zealand turn it on, they can turn it on. So it's a very inconsistent New Zealand side. We're still not entirely sure what to expect, but it's a very strong England side being named. And a lot of the big names back for New Zealand, including World Player of the Year, or former World Player of the Year, Brodie Retallick. So it's a very strong New Zealand side, lots of experience in that All Blacks side. But before we look at the two teams, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. In terms of the two teams, we will start with the home side, which is England. This is how they line up. Ellis Genge, Luke Cowan, Dickie Carl Sinclair, arguably the form front row in the Autumn Nation series so far. Maori Toja, however, has swapped the number 6 for the number 4. He moves back into the second row and partners Johnny Hill in the back row. Sam Simmons shifts to the number 6 jersey. Tom Curry remains in the 7, but Billy Vunipola comes into the side. So the first time we are seeing a loose trio of Sam Simmons, Tom Curry, Billy Vunipola. A lot of people have been asking for Sam Simmons to be starting, but how do you get them both into the team, him and Vunipola? Well, the question is, or the answer rather, is to shift Sam Simmons to 6 and you move Maori Toja back to lock. So interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, a very different type of player to Toja, Sam Simmons. Far more mobile, far much quicker around the park and stuff like that. But Maori Toja will bring a lot of grunt in that second row. Jack van Portly, however, does get the nod, which is quite interesting. A lot of people, I think, probably expecting Ben Youngs to come back to the starting lineup, but Van Portly has been backed. Marcus Smith continues to try and get that axe between him and Owen Farrell right. Johnny May, Jack Noel, Freddie Stewart, the two wings. Manu Tuilagi comes in at outside centre, and that's just a wrecking ball of an outside centre, isn't it? Tuilagi versus Rico Awani, one of the matchups of the weekend. Off the bench, Jamie George, Marco Vunipola, Will Stewart, Dave Rivers drops down there, Jack Willis comes in, Ben Young, Guy Porter, and Henry Slade. Henry Slade, someone who people reckon could be seeing at full back this weekend, which would be an interesting prospect. But it's a good English side. I think, for example, something like Ellis Genge could be a massive problem for New Zealand from a scrummaging perspective, playing with a lot of confidence. I think it's a very good pack, and I think this English pack will have one over New Zealand. And it's a decent backline, lots of athleticism, the likes of Farrell, Tuilagi, plenty of pace, and Johnny May and Freddie Stewart, who's an absolute unit under the high ball, probably one of the best in the world right now. And you'll look to see that a lot. And for New Zealand, to a side that like to go the aerial route, Freddie Stewart will be very important in terms of gathering those up and unders. In terms of the side that New Zealand have put out, this is what they would look like. Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Tyrrell Lomax, Cody Taylor coming into the starting lineup. And as I said, in the second row, Brodie Retallick does return to the side next to Sam Whitelock. As a result, Scott Barrett moving to the number 6 jersey, which is not somewhere I particularly fancy him. I can understand why they're trying to make it work. I'm not quite sure it is the best place for him, but I think it's a case of they want Retallick, Whitelock, and Barrett to a side. How do they do that? But Dalton Papali'i, who I thought was very good at the breakdowns last week, he absolutely terrorized Scotland. He does keep his spot in the starting lineup. Artie Severe, how he missed a World Player nomination, I just don't know, to be honest. In the 8 jersey, Aaron Smith does return, as does Richie Mo'unga. So a new halfback pairing. Brodie Barrett dropped down to 15. Wasn't his best game at 10. It's not surprising, really, for me that Richie Mo'unga does come back in. Same as Aaron Smith. Finley Christie got an opportunity last weekend. Didn't really feel like he took it, which is why, for example, TJ Perinaro, I thought was very good when he came off the bench. Does retain his spot there. Caleb Clark, Mark Tellier, Brodie Barrett, the back three. Mark Tellier retaining his spot after that dream debut of his. Geordie Barrett switched back into the centres, and he's back with Rico Awani. So a new centre combination as well for the All Blacks. Then off the bench, Samasoni Takawau, George Bauer, Nepalua Lala are the front row replacements. Shannon Frizzell and Hoskins Tutu covering the rest of the forwards. TJ Perinara, David Havili, Anton Leonard-Brown. 3 very nice players you can bring on from a backline perspective. So it's a very strong New Zealand side. And, it's, for example, Sam Whitelock's playing actually just getting better and better this year. There was ever sort of any doubt about whether he's going to make the World Cup, whether he's still at the top of his game. He very much is. I thought once again last week had a very impressive game. Had a couple of nice turnovers actually. But if Retallick can find his form as well, they continue to be one of the top lock combinations in World Rugby. So I think this New Zealand side will be up for it, and I think this English side do pack quite a big punch. And depending on what English side we see, and if it's the one that decimated Japan and beat Australia in the incoming or outgoing series for them, or if it's the one that lost to Argentina. Same with New Zealand. Is this the New Zealand side that hammered Argentina, or is this the New Zealand side which was struggling against Scotland? So both sides are sort of struggling with a bit of consistency, which is why this becomes such a difficult match to call. But I want to know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.